thank my friend from Texas. You know, mob violence is not representative of our country.
And riots turned into the looting, and then the looting turned into the fires.
Or of this building.
And speaking of breaching the U.S. Capitol, that they are inside the Senate chamber as well. There you go. They have gotten to the second floor of the Capitol.
The American people, they have seen this body return to a peaceful debate.
But the real debate right now about Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania's Act 77. Was it constitutional or was it unconstitutional?
Article 2 of the Constitution states, each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors, meaning that it's the duty of the state legislatures to select their electors in the manner they stipulate. It's right here. Do they not know the Constitution? Have they not read it like you and I? Or are they merely passing the buck? Here's the reality. Look, I believe this was not a fraud-free election. I believe that there were problems in Pennsylvania and in Georgia, but the Constitution gives us the right to fix that at the state level, not throw out the Electoral College.
In December, 25 of my freshman colleagues and I sent you, Madam Speaker, a letter imploring you to investigate these election irregularities. And to date, we have not received a response. Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 of the Constitution explicitly rests the time and manner of our elections in the hands of our state legislatures. However, state law in the 2020 election was modified or circumvented without approval of the state legislatures. These actions are in clear violation of the Constitution, specifically Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2, which grants state legislatures the sole authority to establish how state presidential electors are appointed. These changes, along with other election irregularities throughout the 2020 election, require me, as a member of this body, to object to the certification of these electoral votes, just as my colleagues across the aisle have objected to every Republican presidential election over the last 20 years.
I wanted to point out to all these great lovers and supporters of the Pennsylvania legislature that it was the Republican Pennsylvania legislature that passed a Republican bill that they all voted for and supported, that set up the system under which we just ran the election, and that the reason the president lost was because he was not as popular as other Republicans in our state. He got fewer votes than all of them, which makes this a hard speech for me to give. Because to do this with any kind of honesty means admitting and declaring in this House that these objections don't deserve an ounce of respect. Not an ounce. A woman died out there tonight, and you're making these objections. Let's be clear about what happened in this chamber today. Invaders came in for the first time since the War of 1812.
Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The noes have it. The gentleman is recognized.
Like a recorded vote.
The yeas and nays are requested pursuant to Section 3S of House Resolution 8. The yeas and nays are ordered.
Act 77 changed Pennsylvania's voting law and Pennsylvania's Constitution. What did Pennsylvania have to do to get to the point where they would have a no-excuse mail-in ballot? Number one, in 2 successive sessions of the Pennsylvania legislature, that had to be passed in that legislation, one session after the other. If it passed both times, then it had to be published in every one of the 67 counties of Pennsylvania twice. When that was finished, it then had to go before the Pennsylvania voters to decide whether they wanted the Constitution amended. Pennsylvania did the first one. They actually did take a vote, and it was overwhelming. But then they scrapped it and they put it in an omnibus bill. That is an unconstitutional change. You cannot do it. It's that simple. Why do we even do it? Why go through this charade? We have driven this country apart through the people's house. And we wonder what happens? The biggest loss on November 3rd was not by Donald Trump. It was the faith and trust that the American people lost in this voting system because we have allowed it to happen. It's unconstitutional.
On this vote, The ayes are 138. The nays are 282. The noes have it. The noes have it. The objection is not agreed to, and with that objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. The clerk will now notify the Senate of the action of the House, informing that body that the House is now ready to proceed in joint session with the further counting of the electoral vote for the President and the Vice President.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 232 votes. The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 306 votes. Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana has received 232 votes. The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Pursuant to Section 5A1B of House Resolution 8, the House stands adjourned until 11 a.m. on Monday, January the 11th, 2021.